My name is Elizabeth Woodworth, and I come from Canada, from Victoria, BC. I flew here at my own expense because I'm a writer, and I've written a book that I think is very timely for the implementation of the Paris Agreement. The name of this book is Unprecedented Climate Mobilization, a handbook for citizens and their governments. And I've written it with my colleague, Dr. David Ray Griffin, because the science is showing now that we had reached 1 degree above pre-industrial temperatures in 2014. It went to 1.13 degrees in 2015, and in 2016 it's 1.25. So it's gone up a whole quarter of a degree more than it went up over the last more than 150 years. It's an emergency. The climate scientists are all agreeing it's an emergency, but the talks, the INDCs are still treating this as a gradual matter. In World War II, there was a national emergency because of Hitler running over Europe, and President Roosevelt declared a national emergency, and that gave him special executive presidential powers. He told the automobile companies to stop making cars. They had been making 3 million cars a year. They made 139 cars in World War II. They moved over to making tanks and munitions. Now, that's a precedent. If the U.S. president or any nation's president said, I declare a national climate emergency, I have the powers to make special orders to legislate a change in the energy system in the country. They could order the oil companies to start transitioning from producing oil, and the coal companies to producing solar panels, wind turbines, geothermal, heat pumps. All those kinds of energy could be moved over at the rate of 10% a year, which is not unreasonable. That could be done, and in 9 years they would be finished. Now, if the president doesn't want to do this, the citizens could actually force the president. And how the citizens could, the nonviolent actions and the social media are here. It's all here, how to do this for everybody, not just the president, but the citizens. An emergency climate mobilization would be a mobilization of the whole country, any whole country, to direct all its economic production to fighting a war. And Bill McKibben has said that we need to fight a war on climate change, and it would mean that we would change our production, our electric grid, our existing power grid, which based on coal and so on, would have to move to electric. Automobiles would have to move to electric vehicles, oil companies and coal companies to renewables. Well, the people who are behind this idea of a climate mobilization, and that includes Bill McKibben, it includes Bernie Sanders, it includes the Democratic National Convention and the Green Party. If it were done at the rate of 10% a year, it could be brought down, well, this is 2016, certainly by 2030. Whereas the INDCs and the targets with the COP are trying to get them down to zero by 2050. It's not soon enough. It's not soon enough because we can see how fast the temperature is rising already. It's extremely dangerous. If we don't do something like this, we're going to end up with 4, 5, maybe 6 degrees. The planet won't be livable. And a lot of people know that. The people in the green zone are talking a lot more about that because it's so frightening. And here the scientists have been talking about it. But it's hard to get 195 countries to all agree at once. So each individual country needs to take a much stronger step to declare a climate emergency and an emergency climate mobilization.